How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin back with another video. It's time to try the timberjack out. I've never used it yet. Still got the brand new paint on it. I got me a log over here. We had some trees that fell down on the road, close to the road. I'm going to be chopping them up, and I don't want to get my blade down in the dirt. So we're going to give this guy a try and see how it works. Now this is going to be the very first time this thing's ever been used, so we're going to hook it in the center of this guy and see if it will pick it up and roll it onto that. I guess not. So I can see a problem with it right now. The plate on the bottom, I think we're going to have to widen this plate on the bottom because it sank right down in the mud. So we're going to have to widen it out. Let's try it again. Get it on a little bit harder ground there. It will work, but you've seen it sink in the mud. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. We're going to use it for now, and we'll have to take a bigger plate and put it on the bottom. I think I'll go with a flat plate. Maybe 2 or 3 inch flat plate on the bottom. So we might as well get to cutting this tree up. This is basically what it's supposed to be used for, to pick the log up off the ground so we don't get it into the dirt. So we do know now we need to change this guy out and put something better on there, as it's just not going to work. It's too small. It's going to sink in the mud. So we'll get this guy back in the garage and get it worked on. Okay, everyone, we're back in the garage and we got the timberjack in the garage. Now, I looked over the timberjack. I just used it, just what you've seen on tape. I didn't do anything else. I actually threw it in the back of the truck and said I'm not going to mess with it because I didn't like the idea that this thing sunk in the ground. Well, when I took it out of the truck, I noticed something else wrong with it, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Let me show you here. Now that this is your thing that clamped down on your log. This piece here clamped down on your log, and if you notice, it actually bent it too. So that tells me that the steel that I used for this hook is just not strong enough to do the job. It's probably just a mild steel, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. So we're going to put a better piece of steel inside here, and we're going to replace that piece down there with a little bit longer piece of flat stock. I think I'll use 1.5 inch or 2 inch piece of flat stock by 1/4. So we know we can replace this pretty easy, but this has to be put into the forge. And let me show you the piece that I'm going to be using. I'm going to fire up the cold forge today, and I'm going to use a coil spring. The coil spring steel is a really high carbon steel, so it should hold up to that, you know, the stress of pulling a log up on it and hooking into it and that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to measure out a piece of this stock and get it cut off about the same length as what we have on the timberjack. We're just going to measure this out because it's actually going to be longer once we start beating on it and flatten it out. We may even have to shorten it up a little bit. But the good thing is we have the shape that we want. We're just going to unbolt this and we're going to make it the same shape as this. Now this stalk here is a little bigger around than this stalk here, but I think I can make it work. Now I have this little flimsy tape measure, which I think my wife uses these in the house for clothes to measure stuff. And this is something I wanted in the garage. This is really nice for measuring stuff like this. You can actually bend it and get it to go around corners however you want it to go, which is nice if you can hold it on there. So we need about 16 inches of stock of that spring, so we're going to go ahead and get 16 inches cut out of that stock. This isn't something that has to be cut perfect. You just want to get you a piece that you can get in the forge and get it straightened out and get it in the shape you want. Okay, those of you who haven't seen my coal forge, we built the gas forge and I also built a coal forge. Now this piece here will not fit into my gas forge, so I'm going to fire up the coal forge and we're going to get it going and use it to shape this piece of steel. So now while the forge is heating up, we're going to go ahead and cut this T off. I stuck this in my cutoff saw here, the bandsaw, and we're going to cut it long ways with that T so it'll give us more support for that bigger piece we can weld along each side. So we're going to go ahead and get this cut off. Okay, we got this guy cut off. Instead, this is 4.5 inches here. Instead of 4.5, we're going to have 7 inches of flat steel on the ground. So I'm hoping this is good. We don't want to make it too heavy, so we're going to get this cut off. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get to welding this guy together, and we'll have this part done. We got the forge going, we're heating up the steel, and I want to let you guys know, for those of you who have not seen me build this forge, I'll put a playlist up at the top so you can see this forge being built. I actually built a coal forge, a couple coal forges, and gas forges. Now for you guys that think, oh, I can't have a coal forge because I don't have coal in my area, in the bottom of that right now is charcoal, and I actually have a video on how to make homemade charcoal that you could burn in your forge. You really don't have to have coal to run this forge. Pound for pound, charcoal is just as good as coal. So I'll leave some links at the top of the page so you guys can go and see some of the builds that I had done earlier. All I'm doing now is just going to straighten this guy out. Once I get this guy all straightened out, then we'll start shaping it the same shape as the other hook. Okay, we basically got it decently straight. Now we'll start shaping it a little bit, what we need. And we're basically going to try to get it in the same shape as our other hook. So that's what we're looking for. Now even though this metal might be a little smaller in diameter, it's probably going to be a stronger metal because of it being a leaf spring or a coil spring, and coil springs are a whole lot stronger than that mild steel. So I don't think it's going to hurt that it's just a little bit smaller. What we're doing now is just getting the point on this thing so we can get it bent up like the other one. That's okay. We'll be all right there. Okay, we got our hook on there. Now this hook's a little bit looser than the other one. I could put a washer in there, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything being a little bit loose. I had to use a little bit smaller bolt in there because the stock is a little bit smaller. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and get this guy put back together and get that piece painted up here, and then we're going to give it a try. But the only problem I have right now is it's raining like crazy out there right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy put on here and get this painted up. Then as soon as the weather changes, I'll show you what I mean by that being loose on it. Let me see if I get you guys off these tripods. See, this piece here is a lot skinnier than the other piece, and when I beat it out, it gave me a little bit more of a gap down in there. You can see the gap. And this thing kind of moves back and forth, but I think it's going to be okay. I could put a washer down there. Maybe that's what I'll do, is put a washer down in there. Just a little spacer in there to hold it straight. So I'm going to go ahead and get it put together and see what we got when we get done. Alright, got it all finished up. Got a little bit of paint on it drying. Like I said, my rod's a little bit smaller, but definitely harder steel, because I had a heck of a time drilling just a hole in the back of that. So I have a feeling this is going to be definitely a fix for this. I do believe this is going to work good. I'm going to let that dry up before we try it on a log. Anyhow, I'll show you what it's doing. Man, it's raining like cats and dogs here in PA. It's raining pretty good, so I don't want to... Ain't no logs out there for me to get, so as soon as I get a chance, I'll get out there, get us a log, and give it a try. I honestly think it's going to work out a lot better this time. I like the big pad on the bottom. That turned out really nice. And hopefully this hook won't bend. I'm hoping it don't snap off. That would be the biggest problem, it's snapping off, but we'll see. We'll just get it on a big old log and start giving it a yank and see what happens. That's all we could do. Alright, it's time to check out our hook to see if it works this time. So I just drug this log out. It's a pretty dead one. I just want to put my hook on it and give it a try and see if we can get it to roll up off the ground. Now that worked a whole lot better than the last time we did it. It didn't go into the ground as bad. Now we still are on dirt, so it's got that wide pad now, which is going to help it out a lot. This is the kind of wood I like to burn, the dead wood. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing split up. The hook seems like it's hooked in there really well. So this might be a win instead of a loss. That thing seems to be working out pretty good. I got my chain come off there. I had to work on my chain there. But got it fixed. Give you guys a little close-up of how that thing is working. And I really think it's working good. So we're gonna drop this log off and pick it up on down there somewhere. See how it works again. nothing wrong with that. That's working out really well. This thing's working pretty good. A lot better than what it did. So we're going to get this loaded up. We got to get some wood in the garage so we can be doing more videos. Well, I think the old timberjack's going to work out pretty good. As you can see, I didn't cut a lot of big stuff today, but I did want to give it a try and see how it picked up the wood. I think this thing's going to work perfectly fine now. I think even though the bottom piece, the hook, was a little bit smaller around, I still think that it's stronger, being that it's a coil spring. And the wider plate on the bottom definitely helped. But I think really if you have too big a log, no matter how wide or how big that piece is on the bottom, it's probably still going to sink in the ground anyhow. So basically try to get it on a little bit of sturdy ground to lift it up, and I think it'll work out just fine. So I apologize for not having this video on sooner, but I've been so busy, and actually I'm even behind on my firewood. So I'd like to tell everybody thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment if you'd like. And don't forget, click the little bell down there if you want them alerts when I put up another video. Thanks for watching.